Peter Gosselar has been working as Mimbus' customer success manager for 2 years, but has been obsessed with VR since he first tried Tilt Brush in 2017. And with that, I'm just going to let you go.
Hey, everyone, welcome. Okay, this is obviously not me. This is Jeremy Bailenson from the Virtual Human Interaction Lab at Stanford University. And in 2019, he coined an acronym that kind of formalized what we've known in the VR industry for a while, DICE. VR training is best for situations that are dangerous, impossible, counterproductive, or expensive. So Mimbus has been making skilled trades training for 15 years now, following the DICE model without really knowing it, ever since my boss Laurent left his job in 2011 with nothing but a dream and an embarrassing mastery of rotational kinematics. We have done physical simulators, we've done headset simulators, we've done VR laptop simulators, all focused on skilled trades training. And our specialty is things that require manipulation with your hands, really hands-on, whether you're holding a hammer or a knife or pruning shears or a welding torch. That's where we shine. So a couple years ago, we took all of this institutional knowledge, all of this practice creating blue-collar skilled trades training, and came up with chemistry. We traded our blue collars for blue gloves. Now, it's not actually as strange a transition as you might think. There are at least as many ways to kill yourself in a well-equipped chemistry lab as there is a construction site. Although that might just be because I still don't have a real sense of smell after an unsupervised interaction with sulfuric acid in 7th grade. But there are a lot of hazards, and there are a lot of expensive pieces of equipment you really don't want to break. On the bottom right there is a bioreactor that costs 3 times as much as your average welding rig, and even that little analytical balance on the bottom left costs more than my first car. So we partnered with a very prestigious university in Paris called Le CNAM, and we created a digital twin of their agri-food and pharma chemistry lab. Since it rolled out in the fall of 2021, I believe, 600 students have gone through it, and this summer they actually published a paper based on the results, because remember, kids, the difference between screwing around and science is writing it down. And one of the co-authors of this paper is actually watching in frame, so everybody say hi to Christian. So because they're academics, they use 2 different metrics for the students and for the faculty. For the students, they used a German questionnaire called Attractive, which asks students to rank things like on a spectrum between 2 opposing adjectives, complex versus simple, or bold versus conventional. And then they divided these all up into pragmatic, attractiveness, and then a series of different types of hedonic qualities. I don't know why they kept using hedonic. It's probably because they're German. And across the board, Mimbus Chemistry scored very well. We're right there in that upper right-hand quadrant where it is functional, it's attractive, and people actually enjoy using it. I think if you look at the actual questions in the questionnaire, it's pretty obvious where we lost points. For example, one of the pragmatic questions is to rank it on a line between human and technical, and one of the hedonic questions is connected versus isolating. And I think we're really making a lot of progress in connecting people through VR, but for a lot of things, it's still a very isolating experience. And then for the faculty, they used what's called the System Usability Scale, which has been around since the 80s. And CNAM had this really interesting setup where they had in the room the chemistry professors, but they also had an IT staff that would help support the equipment, help support students learning how to use it, set up the classroom, break it down afterwards. And so they divided up the questionnaire among these 2 groups of faculty. And I think it's interesting. So first of all, the scores are normed so that higher is always better. So the best thing Mimbus Chemistry got was the system is not unnecessarily complex. But I don't think it's a surprise that our worst score was I would need the support of a technical person to use this system, because we are a long ways from the age of the Vive where you have to set up lighthouses and it takes 30 minutes, but it is still a system that you need to be trained on before you can use it. So my 2 takeaways from our experience with Mimbus Chemistry is that VR is certainly not a solution to every training need, but it is a solution to more training needs that you might think. Let DICE be your guide. And the second thing is, it doesn't matter how good the software is if teachers can't integrate it into their classrooms. One of our sort of passions outside of the headset has been, we have a training called VR, Become an Immersive Teacher, and it's a 2-day training that just teaches teachers how to use VR as a teaching exercise. And I think you need good software and good training for the teacher before a successful deployment. That's all I got.